Hello, everybody. Welcome to All Villa, No Filler. Please remember to like and subscribe. Subscribe if you love the mighty Villa and are delighted that we are currently riding high in the Premier League after another big win, 3 wins in four now to start the season, 3-2 over Everton. Of course, there are a few issues within this game. Going 2-0 behind, of course, is the big one. Some defensive things that leave me a little bit concerned, but I'm just here just to look at uh, some of the stats. Let's see what happened in the game. So let's just go straight to the tactical pads. So these were the lineups I had basically in the game. Now with Villa, I thought Nedeljkovic might start a right back, and I thought that Ashley Young, I thought that Seamus Coleman might start a right back. Obviously, Coleman got injured, so we take him out of the team. Ashley Young goes in there. And then Lamar Bogard kept his place and cost Nedeljkovic, who maybe he's going to have his moment. And Nedeljkovic have his moment maybe in the Champions League. Got Champions League experience, played for Red Star against Man City, of course. International experience as well, having just played against Spain. Started 2 games for Serbia recently. So, yes, but Bogard coming in, maybe I theorize because Aston Villa were playing so heavily down the left-hand side and attacking so much down there that kind of like last season, Unai Emery wanted an anchor on the right. Somebody who can maybe just sit in a little bit, which is why a lot of the time we played Ezri Konsa out on the right. And Lamar Bogard essentially played that Konsa role. I think it's something clearly that Unai Emery is keen for Bogard to learn and get into his repertoire. I think Bogard had an improved performance on what he did against Leicester away. Very young guy, of course, coming into the Premier League. So we've got to be very patient with him. But there were some signs that actually his game improved, or he did a little bit better. Obviously, it's a different circumstance to Leicester, where away from home, you're going to be under a bit more pressure. Leicester, like they're a team that they're going to go out of the opposition, as we saw against Crystal Palace as well, away where they got a 2-2 draw. But Lamar Bogard, he made 5 tackles, won 3 of them. So in total with tackles and interceptions, he made 6, which is the most in the team. And I think there are a number of occasions where he made it difficult for Iliman Ndiaye. And Ndiaye didn't actually have as many, he had 3 progressive carries, which is a key metric for measuring who moves the ball at least 5 meters towards the opposition goal. I think Ndiaye was starting to become a bit of a threat through the game, but I think overall, I think Bogard actually had quite a good handle on him. I think his distribution as well was improved. He wasn't dispossessed anywhere near as much as he was against Leicester. Obviously, he's not going to be pressed as hard as he was away at Leicester by Everton at Villa Park. So obviously, games away from home and we go somewhere like maybe even Young Boys on Tuesday, but go away anywhere and, going to be another lesson. So with Bogard, I think we can all see that it's just a moment of he's a young guy, got to get experience, and you got to learn the hard way. And I think he's actually, showed some good signs again. Showed some good signs against Leicester. I think he showed some good signs again against Everton. So other than that, well, who was the key man, do you think? Well, for me, I think it was all roads lead to Youri Tielemans once again. I thought he was the conductor. I thought he was superb. If we look at this passing map from Opta Analyst, look at that. All roads lead to Rome. They lead to Youri Tielemans. The Luca Dean, Pau Torres channel, that was very important. Pau Torres obviously is always a very key and important player. And as you can see, Torres here, the number 14, is a little bit further ahead than Ezri Konsa, which is what he likes to do. But it's that man in the centre there, Youri Tielemans. Luca Dean and Tielemans, 27 passes between them to each other. Tielemans and Pau Torres, 64 to each other. Tielemans and Jacob Ramsey, 37 together. Even McGinn and Tielemans, 15. Konsa into Tielemans, 17. Bogard as well managed to hit a few passes into him, 15 overall between the two. So it just feels like Tielemans was the key outlet, wasn't he? And as you can see from this map as well on Opta Analyst, the left-hand side is where Aston Villa are just a little bit more proactive. It's where Villa go forward a little bit more. And you could see it on various occasions in this game. If we go to, let's say, the assist that Luca Dean got. Now, as you can see, Amadou Onana, it's a lovely pass from him out to Tielemans. James Garner obviously gets caught inside. Now, Garner had come on for Mikolenko had got injured, so Ashley Young went to left back. And you'd have to say that Garner there comes inside, which is a problem. It's a thing that sometimes players who play centrally tend to do. Ezri Konsa's done it quite a bit. There's a few occasions I can think of last season, particularly Bournemouth away, where Konsa went inside too much. And I think just as a player who plays a bit more centrally, sometimes you just get tempted to go back inside. And I think he got his positioning all wrong there, Garner. It just gave Luca Dean all the room in the world to get forward. Great ball from Onana, and it's the second week in a row where Luca Dean has got an assist by pushing forward. It was a brilliant ball into Jhon Durán against Leicester. That was a supreme header from Durán. And then yesterday, a lovely floated ball to the back post. And Ollie Watkins getting over Michael Keane. Could Keane have done better? Well, sometimes when a striker just is running at you and jumps, when you're static and they've got the momentum of going into you, it's very hard to stop that. Maybe you could have. I don't rate Keane very highly. I don't really see it with him. But Ollie Watkins, again, as he has done in the past, gets the better of Michael Keane. So yeah, great goal there. But as I say, Aston Villa down the left-hand side, they were very threatening. Again, you look at the second goal. Again, it's Luca Dean trying to get in behind James Garner. Youri Tielemans, who just mentioned as a really key player in the game. That is a fantastic spot. That is. Look at how. It's a really good run from Luca Dean, but look how the vision of Youri Tielemans to see that, the number of players between him. He could just very easily make a simple pass to, I think it's Pau Torres who's there to his left. But instead he gambles, right? He makes a progressive ball forward. He makes an ambitious pass. Sometimes you do have to just gamble. And Tielemans' weighted ball is fantastic because it leaves Jack Harrison struggling to get to it. And if he doesn't make it, Luca Dean gets there and can hit a ball across to Ollie Watkins. But instead, the man himself, Harrison, touches it over to Watkins, who then does really well to just pause for a second, clarity of vision, allow Pickford to run at him. I think it's Keane again, gets caught. And brilliant finish from, brilliant work, basically, from Ollie Watkins. And then again, down the left-hand side, look at this. Youri Tielemans has the ball deep. He sees John McGinn make that pointing where exactly he wants it. Tielemans seeing the gap between Irobenham and Idrissa Gana Gueye. The weight of pass is fantastic. The run in behind them from Morgan Rogers. It looks like something from the training ground, because if you look at this image here, look at McGinn making that run inside, and obviously he's come in from the right-hand side of the pitch. Look at Rogers there with he's turned, hasn't he? And what he's done is coming deeper. He's dragged Tarkowski out kind of a bit further forward than he maybe wants to be. Creates a whole load of space in behind. He's smart enough to just make that run because he can see that Tielemans is going to make that pass into somebody. Doesn't necessarily know who he's going to be, but into somebody who might just lay a ball onto him. McGinn gets the ball and look at Rogers. He's gone. Tarkowski's nowhere. What a ball that is. Touch around the corner. What a run that is. Ball across for Rogers, and it should be a goal. Should be Watkins' hat-trick goal. Watkins seems to have a go at Rogers. I don't know. I think Watkins maybe should have got to it. There is a chance it was offside as well. It is worth mentioning that. But I just thought I'd pick out a few of those moments that all of them involve Tielemans. All of them come down the left-hand side. Two of them involve Luca Dean making runs. I talk about the involving Tielemans as well. It was actually Tielemans who made the pass into Onana, and Onana then with a lovely ball out wide to Luca Dean. So, if we look at just some of the stats as well, for Tielemans, 138 attempted passes, 125 completed, 91% completion rate. That is a record in the Premier League this season so far. So that's the most completed passes in the Premier League of any game so far this season. Second to him was Pau Torres on 119 completed passes, 87% completion rate. Now, it's impressive for a midfielder to have that much of the ball. And it does leave you thinking that if it comes to it, if, say, we have a game against a team that is a little bit more physical, like a Sean Dyche team and Everton, and they're using players like Calvert-Lewin who are going in for their aerial duels. I think Calvert-Lewin got the better of Torres on a lot of occasions yesterday, and it's the kind of game where you think Pau Torres is always absolutely critical for Aston Villa pushing forward, particularly down the left-hand side and playing. But Tyrone Mings has shown before that he can do that. And that maybe in games like this, Tielemans and Ross Barkley are already players who are going to be dominating in the middle. Maybe having a Mings there to just deal with like physical battles that Calvert-Lewin wants to win, one-on-one running behind, long balls forward, aerial duels. Maybe that's key because if you look at it, yesterday, Pau Torres, he had 4 aerial duels and he lost 3 of them. Calvert-Lewin won 4, he only lost 1. Calvert-Lewin's specialty is aerial duels. He won 8 of them against Bournemouth, 8 of them. And you have to be good at it as a striker if you're going to play for a Sean Dyche team. So I just think that's worth bearing in mind. I think these are the type of games where Tyrone Mings might get the starting call up because let's face it, as we saw in that passing map, Tielemans and later Ross Barkley in the second half are 2 players that can just do the job for you, aren't they? With the passing anyway. Compare it to Leicester with Youri Tielemans, again, in that game, he was our top passer. He had 63 attempted, so, half of what he had against Everton. 52 completed, 82.5% completion rate. So quite a lot lower than what he got against Everton. Of course, he had 2 very, very important passes with the free kick and, of course, the ball through to Ollie Watkins that the key Flecken just got to him ahead of it. But as well, I think an interesting thing to note as well, last week Ndidi played as a kind of this, I wouldn't say second striker, but he was that sort of position, sort of where Dwight McNeil was for Everton. And I think you'd have to say that Tielemans against Leicester, he had Ndidi constantly coming back to disrupt him. It was a smart attempt, a smart move by Steve Cooper to try and stop that. And to a degree, it worked in a way. But it does feel a little bit like if you want to stop Aston Villa, you've got to figure out a way to deal with Youri Tielemans at the moment. We're not missing Douglas Luiz. That is high compliments, isn't it? Progressive carrying distance, 168 yards. He was third only behind Ezri and Powell, and you expect those 2 central defenders to be pushing forward. The only player who really comes forward compares to the progressive carrying distance is Ross Barkley, who got 71 yards and only played a half of the game. But you double that, it's 142. So again, that's still 20 yards or so behind Tielemans. He won 3 tackles as well, joint most with Kamara and Lamar Bogard. Lamar Bogard. And anyway, 99 carries as well. A number of times the players control the ball with their feet, joint most with Pau Torres. So as that Opta analyst map has shown us, all roads go through Youri Tielemans. He's a critical player for us. Another player that I think really important, I thought Ross Barkley was tremendous. I thought he was absolutely tremendous. Now, if you look at Ross Barkley here on the Opta analyst map, look at that. Trying to make things happen. Almost all in the Everton half. 97% pass completion rate. 100% pass completion rate against Leicester. He's not a defensive player, but he's a player who certainly tries to make things happen. He's a metronome, keeps things happening all the time. He had 1 unsuccessful pass, as you can see with that red line. I mean, that's really, really good. And I think you could see it in the game. It felt like every time the ball came to him, he'd be intelligent enough to retain it, make a simple pass here, and it just keeps the pressure on Everton, doesn't it? And it was the same against Leicester. And if you look at this goal against Leicester, I mentioned it last week, the Durán goal, that whole move, the second half of that game, Leicester were largely, I think, the ascendant team. When Barkley came on for Onana, there was just a moment where Villa suddenly looked like they were the more attacking team. And it was, again, I think it was down to Barkley just settling us down a little bit, trying to make things happen a bit more. And he first attempt, it came to Ramsey. Ramsey put it across, and that all came from Barkley from deep. Again, no one was there, but it came back to Barkley again with an intelligent ball that worked its way out left, and then Lucas Digne knocks it in, and Jhon Durán with the goal. And Ross Barkley, I guess he got an assist as well for Jhon Durán's absolutely insane goal. So I mean, he's very generous assist that, but yeah, it is. And like I said, I thought he was fantastic. I thought he was really, really good. Um, a key player for us. But I think, yeah, what worries me a bit, like I said, I think Partey's got bullied a bit by Calvert-Lewin. I thought Dwight McNeil was superb for Everton. I really do. Like every single key thing that they did attacking wise came through him. You know, firstly, you've got the Anana. He dispossesses Anana, uh, runs forward, takes a shot. I think Emi Martinez should have done better. Same as the Thomas Partey. Was it Thomas Partey goal a couple of weeks ago for Arsenal? Should have saved it, and I think he probably looks at that and thinks he should have saved that. Dwight McNeil again. What did I talk about in the previous show? I said Dwight McNeil balls to the back post. There was an occasion where Everton could have gone 3-0 up with a Dwight McNeil floated ball to the back post against Bournemouth. Tarkowski hit the post again yesterday. We saw the threat of it. 18 set piece goals last season for Everton, second best in the Premier League. They got another one yesterday, ball into the back post from Dwight McNeil. Now, Tielemans, I think, played him on. Calvert-Lewin. I wonder if Martinez should have come out for it. The more I've watched it, the more I think he sort of took a step forward and then he took a step back, and it just left Calvert-Lewin in sort of a lot of space, sort of just have a quite easy header. Not easy, but for a player of his level, a pretty easy header. I wonder if Martinez should have just come out and white clattered him and just got the ball. I think even from the sort of VAR angle, again, he stepped forward, stepped back. This is the bit before the ball comes in. I think if he'd gone out for the ball, he might have been favoured to get it. Who am I to question the best goalkeeper in the world? But I think Emmy will probably look at his starts the season and think he's obviously got all the authority. He's done lots of brilliant stuff that's just by the numbers for him now that most goalkeepers can't do. But I think there's a couple of goals this season that he might look at and think he maybe should have done better with. But yeah, and again, Dwight McNeil, look at this. This is an occasion where you think Bogarts is lack of experience. That high line that Villa play. It's a fine-tuned machine, isn't it? And it's very difficult to have the concentration levels for 90 minutes to always get it right. And when it goes wrong, you leave teams with easy one-on-one chances. And it was Dwight McNeil with the way to pass through to Calvert-Lewin. Lucky for us, Calvert-Lewin dithered, missed it. But again, Dwight McNeil gets down the left-hand side, gets in behind Bogard between Konsa, ball across, and Calvert-Lewin just doesn't quite make it. And once again, Dwight McNeil, how many times have I said it? Ball comes into him. He found a bit of space in between our defence, between Barkley and Tielemans, who pushed forward a little bit. I think it was Ramsey as well, maybe. And McNeil runs in behind, and great way of pass again. And I thought Calvert-Lewin did really well to physically out-muscle Pau Torres. I think this is an occasion where Mings we could do with him back in games like this, maybe. And it hits the crossbar. But I thought I'd give a shout out to Dwight McNeil because I thought he was brilliant yesterday. I really did. I think I've never quite got it with him. I've never quite seen what it is. Maybe I've just never really watched him in great, depth. But I think he looked like a player who Everton are going to be very reliant on this season, and a player who's very intelligent, makes good movement, all those kinds of things. Otherwise, Villa. That's about it, really. I think we've looked at the passing channel. Like I say, all roads go through Tielemans. Progressive carries, I think, is one worth looking at. Ross Barkley had 3. Again, really good. He was trying to make things happen all the time. Morgan Rogers had 3. I think he was successful with 2. Rogers again. Jamie Carragher was really, talking him up quite heavily yesterday. And I think that there were movements that Rogers was making, trying to get in behind, that I thought was giving Everton problems. Rogers would get the ball, he'd out-muscle various defenders. He was just constantly making things happen. He was one of them players as well that gets the ball in the tight position and can run at an opposition but beat them as well with a bit of skill. I think Rogers, again, whilst he didn't get an assist or a goal, that goal's coming. He's very young, 21, 22. You look at all these raw ingredients he has. Unai was right. He's too good for the under the 21s. And I think that once he gets his first goal this season, then I think that he's going to become an unstoppable force. I really do. He's just got so much raw ability. But I will take you back to the Opta Analyst map. And if we look at John McGinn, now, uh, again, a lot of successful passes, but he's he's sort of in. He's not really getting in behind too much, is he? And if you look at the passing map of where McGinn largely was, he's as the number 7 there. He's quite deep, isn't he? And if you compare that to West Ham away, look at Leon Bailey, 31 there, way up the pitch. And the Villa's right hand side was much more progressive in that game. And so I think it shows the lack of Matty Cash and the lack of Leon Bailey. You're asking a lot of Bogard to come in and just, you know, be a more progressive player. I don't think that's what he was instructed to do really by Unai Emery yesterday. Although he had one really good moment when he did go forward and put a lovely way pass through to Morgan Rogers, and it was a good save from Jordan Pickford, if you remember that. So that's, showing what he can do going forward. But I just think that Aston Villa down the right side, John McGinn is as well, kind of having to play out of position. And he's not really a player you think of as just going to take on a player and run to the byline and get the ball in. That's what Leon Bailey's specialty is. Both Bailey and McGinn are left footers. They like to cut inside, but Bailey's just better at beating a man down the side and pulling it back. John McGinn's not that. So that's probably why he's a little bit deeper, coming back inside quite a lot. I think they both did an effective job outright, but you could see I was nervous before this game. I had a niggling feeling that the lack of Leon Bailey was going to be a problem for us. And it kind of was. We didn't really have the dynamism he showed last season. And I think, I'll take Mikolenko out because he didn't play, but it was Ashley Young down the right. And last season, Ashley Young got torn apart by the movement of Leon Bailey and Moussa Diaby in that 4-0 at Villa Park. I think this season, had Leon Bailey been there, I dare say Villa would have got an early lead. I think that first 15 minutes with all the pressure we were putting on them, I think we'd have got in there and I think Bailey would have scored or created a chance that led to a goal. Leon Bailey's a really crucial player for Villa, particularly against these low teams that play a little bit more of a low block. And fair play to McGinn and Bogard doing the job they've got to do on the right hand side, but it's a little bit of a reversal what happened last season on the left, isn't it? If you remember, we lost Ramsey, Moreno, Tyrone Mings. That left hand side was devastated last season, pretty much for the whole season. This season, it's back at full strength, really, with Ian Matson added in. I mean, my goodness. But now, suddenly on the right, we're missing a couple of players, hopefully from not the long haul. But I do wonder going forward, is Philogene going to get his chance out there on the right at some point, maybe against young boys? And Kosnodalkovic, he's got to come in at some point because I really want to see him. I think he's got a lot about him. There's a reason he's already a Serbia international. There's a reason he's already played in the Champions League with Red Star. I wonder if he'll play against young boys. We'll see. We'll see. But fair play to Bogard. Young man coming in and did a very solid job again. I think he stood up to Ndiaye quite a lot. And Ndiaye is a really good player. But again, one or two occasions where young guy, so you got to expect it. But for me, all roads go through Youri Tielemans. I thought Ramsey was threatening as well. Some of his movements, some of his touches. He's a really intelligent player, Ramsey. Easy to overlook at just how intelligent he is, given the fact we always think of him as just bombing forward and doing things. But a lot to be excited about with Aston Villa already this season. There we go. That's what I thought I'd do. Let me know what you think. Comment down below of the mighty Villa.